Welcome to the Crafty Mini. Now in this one I'm going to do something a bit different. I was going through various models and boxes that I've got, doing a bit of clean out, and I didn't realise, it's been sitting there a while, I've got the Baron's War starter set, and I've not really done much with it, so I was just having a look through and I saw a potential model that you can make with the bits, and it immediately made me chuckle, and you'll see why if you haven't already guessed from the thumbnail. So we're going to build that and paint that. Now, instead of just doing the usual stuff and talking about how I paint the miniature and whatnot, I'm just going to briefly go through a couple of things while the footage is playing in the background. And then, as a little homage to a friend of the channel and a channel I absolutely adore, Craft Crusades, look for the little pigeon. Go and check him out. He does some fantastic stuff, especially if you like a proper grimdark style. He's got some really fantastic videos. But one of the things I love about his stuff is he doesn't really go into the painting. He shows you what he's doing, but he does these really nice narrative pieces over the top of it, and some really cool stories that really has a load of atmosphere and things. And so it's like a little homage to him, and a thanks for being a friend to the channel. And also, a lot of his stuff inspires me to try different things in my painting. I'm going to do a little narrative piece at the end of this little voiceover bit that I'm doing, just as a bit of fun, something a bit different for the channel as well, because I'm very aware that sometimes when I'm doing my painting videos, I'm going over the same ground over and over again, and I want to do some different things. So this isn't like this the way I've done this. It's not the best paint job I'll ever do. It was more just having a bit of fun and doing something a little bit different, and just being a bit more fluid, a bit more loose with it, and not worrying too much about perfect blends and transitions and highlights and all this sort of stuff. Just painting something that's just made me laugh and smile. When I saw the pose for the miniature, and I've copied it exactly as is, it just made me smile and giggle. And also, as someone who's into his history as well, I love stuff like this. So I'll briefly go over a bit of the painting and some of the things that I'm doing on the miniature for the plinth and whatever, and then we'll do the narrative bit, a little bit of storytelling at the end. So a couple of things first. I found these little cube plinths that I didn't realise I had. So I've mounted them. I've just done a really simple one. I'm going to do something different this, rather than cover the whole of the top of the actual plinth. I've just made a little raised area out of some cork, put some diorama paste down, a few little tufts, and the arrows that come as part of the kit, and then just stuck the actual miniature down itself. What I've done is, now normally you can keep all the tufts and things. They're obviously pre-coloured and whatnot, but I decided just to base coat it all black, zenithal it, and then I'm actually going to paint the tufts as well, just so it just looks a bit different, something visually something a bit different as well, and just something I don't normally do. And I just, like I mentioned with last week's video, just practicing, trying different things and whatnot. And the idea is I'm just going to get a bunch of colours, just plop them down, and just see how it comes out. The overall piece, it's not bad. It's not my best paint job. Also, with I believe these are War Games Atlantic, but someone tell me if I'm wrong. They're great sculpts and really good for, like, obviously army work and things. They've not got the massive amounts of detail that I normally do, and like the face features are quite soft in comparison, so you can't really pick out as much as you would normally. But it's all about the character of the piece and the story. This little sort of 2-inch square plinth actually shows and sort of tells within it, and it's the fact that it's just this longbowman, clearly in a field in France somewhere, hence the title, and he's just flipping the V's to the French, which is famously was a gesture given to show that he's still got his 2 fingers for pulling his bow. That's the sort of lore behind it, and that they do this to the French as like a gesture to show some defiance to the French soldiers that, according to some of the historical literature, would famously, if they captured the longbowman, would cut off the 2 fingers. So even if they escaped or went back home, they wouldn't be able to fire a bow again. There was no sort of rhyme or reason to the colour scheme. I wanted obviously some browns for the under tunic, sort of like what it's like on the box art, the bow being in a lighter brown, and then I just wanted to flash a colour, red being sort of like the colour for the on the cross on the English flag, and just putting that in there as well. And it just it makes it pop. It looks cool. as I say, again, it's not my best piece of work, but it was just fun. And I think sometimes if you see something that's just, if it makes you chuckle, just put it on a little plinth and make a little diorama. You can just have I don't know, there was just something about it just made me chuckle, and I was laughing the whole way through this. And then just to get into the theme of it as well, I stuck a podcast on that was talking about the 100 Years' War. And then from that, because obviously, for me it's telling this little story, I was thinking about, well, let's do a little narration piece. So I wrote a little, very, very short story, nothing, award winning or whatnot, just a bit of fun. And then I narrated it myself a few times. I even tried some different accents. Didn't quite hit home, so changed the character's name to Thomas. Got my mate Tomo, who is from up north. Got him to record an audio for me and send it over, which was cool, and it works. It's just a good bit of fun. As I say, the inspiration for this has come from Craft Crusades. He does a lot of this on his channel with his painting. His Trench Crusade series he's doing at the moment. It's like, with the sound effects and the production quality, it's fantastic. Like, it gets you really in the mood of the game and makes you think, like, all these demonic stuff that's kicking off, and these poor normal humans who are having to go out and fight this. For those of you who know the setting of Trench Crusade, so please go and check out his channel and give him a subscribe. He's got some fantastic stuff, and his paint style as well. If you like the grim dark sort of paint style, it's fantastic, absolutely brilliant the way he does it. I try and sort of emulate and copy him a little bit with some of my stuff that I do and some of the techniques, and I haven't quite mastered it yet to his level, but I'm getting there. So please go and show him some love. While the last bit of footage is sort of ticking over, and we'll have the sort of finished product at the end, we'll have the little narration coming on now, and hope you enjoy it. And it's just something a bit different for the channel. If you like it, let me know if you want me to do more of these as well, because I can do different things, right? Because I write for roleplay games in my spare time as well. I've got a lot of stuff there that I do, so I do a fair bit of creative writing. So I can happily write stuff for, like, I don't know, a 40k or a fantasy model that I'm painting or something. If you want more of this, I've done a few of them in the past. Long-term viewers might know my little BPD series and stuff like that. But if this does well and you want more of this, let me know. But on to the actual narration.
The chill morning mist clung to Thomas's tunic. Across the muddy field, the French knights, a glittering wall of steel and pride, began to stir. Their banners, emblazoned with fleurs-de-lis, flapped arrogantly in the breeze. A low murmur rippled through the English lines. Thomas glanced at his comrades, their faces grim but resolute. They were outnumbered, outclassed in finery, yet in their eyes he saw the glint of the wolf. He knew what was coming. The thunder of hooves, the clash of steel, the desperate bloody dance of battle. Then a sudden impish grin stretched across his mud-streaked face. He looked directly at the distant shining mass of French cavalry. Without a word, he raised his left hand, and with a swift, defiant flick of his two fingers, he offered the ancient, rude gesture. A few chuckles broke the tension around him. Others, catching his spirit, followed suit, a silent, contemptuous salute to their doomed adversaries. The French trumpets blared, a brassy shriek that heralded their advance. The ground began to tremble. Thomas drew his bow, the powerful stave groaning under the strain. He heard the command sharp and clear. Loose! The air around him turned into a whistling, humming death swarm. Volley after volley tore skyward, arcing high before plummeting into the oncoming mass of iron and flesh. He saw riders fall, horses screamed, their charge faltering, becoming a bogged-down mess of frantic limbs in the thick French mud. Hours later, the sun, weak and watery, finally broke through the clouds. Thomas stood, chest heaving, amidst a landscape transformed. The rich, soft earth was now a churned, bloody mess. Everywhere the fallen lay tangled, proud French knights, their once gleaming armour dull with mud and gore. English foot soldiers, their faces etched with the last gasp of effort. He looked across the field, over the ghastly tapestry of the dead, towards the distant standard of England. King Henry, his face streaked with grime and exertion, stood tall, his voice, though hoarse, ringing out. "God for Harry, England and St. George!" A ragged cheer rose from the survivors, a collective exhalation of triumph and relief. Thomas, his fingers still aching, his body weary but his spirit soaring, joined his voice to theirs, a single raw shout of victory that echoed across the mud-soaked field.
And there you go. So hope you've enjoyed the video, something a bit different. As I said before, if you like this, you want to see more of this sort of narrative style, let me know, and we'll definitely look at doing some more in the future. Please go and check out Craft Crusade's channel. I'll leave a link in the description, and a little icon at the top here for you. But thank you very much for watching. We're almost, at time of recording, we're almost, like, I think it's like 1-2 away from 1,000 subscribers, so thumbs up that we hit it, hopefully. And thank you all very much for watching, and see you all on the next video. Cheers.